Stars of Hockey.
It's a covenant cleanup.
Bullseye!
Oh, well.
Shall we begin?
Welcome to a Saturday morning on KFAN, Beyond the Pond. No, I'm just kidding. It's not Beyond the Pond. It's Falness and Blakemore in for our buddies Paul Allen and Eric Nordquist. No Beyond the Pond, but this is a great opportunity. Man, have I had so much fun with what we've had going on here across Minnesota and this 5-state region. What an awesome run we had with Timberwolves basketball. Wild season ends about 2 months ago, and it's been wall-to-wall basketball coverage. And it's been great, hasn't it, Brett? We've been able to get on that Timberwolves bandwagon, follow the trails of Anthony Edwards and the big cat meow, hooty-hoo, hooty-hoo. All of that was so awesome. But now you know what, Brett?
What?
It's time to set the record straight. It's time to cleanse the palate. It's time to remember what this state is all about. Yes, we had our fun with the Timberwolves. We had our fun with a trip to the Western Conference Finals. Man, was that a blast. But that's over. It's time to hit the reset button. It's time to go back to ground zero. This is what makes this state great. It's not the basketball. It's not the soccer. Sorry, Brett. It's not the wrestling. Sorry, Max. It's the state of hockey. And that's what we're doing today. We're taking our state of hockey flag and we're putting it down at center ice, right at the red line. And we're stating the case that this is the state of hockey. Even on June 13th, even with the season over for more than 2 months for the Minnesota Wild, we still can take our state of hockey flag, plant it at center ice, and remember that this is the state of hockey.
On the ice we cut our teeth. We took our knocks in the penalty box. Our mother was a referee.
So that's what we're doing. Over the course of the next 3 hours, we're going to remind you what makes this state great. Besides the land of 10,000 lakes and the fact that we have Prince from here and Bob Dylan and Pat Micheletti. Hockey is what made us. It's what makes us great. It's what sets us apart from everyone else. Indiana has basketball. Texas has football. We have hockey.
And that's a fact.
So that's what we got today. It will be hockey intensive. And a lot of you are going to be very irritated by that. But I don't care. I cut my teeth in the penalty box. My wife wears a referee's uniform. None of that makes sense, but still, this is the state of hockey, and that's what we're here to prove today over the course of the next 3 hours. Lots of great guests, including Matt Hendricks, the new general manager of the Iowa Wild. I had to get the sting in there. We got Bruce Boudreau, former Wild coach. He's going to join us. And Michael Russo, of course, will join us from Edmonton if he was able to get there. It doesn't sound like the weather was so great going from Florida to Edmonton over the course of the last couple of days, but if anyone can figure it out, it's the great Michael Russo. Plus, the final hour, we're going to do Ask Joe Anything, the voice of the Minnesota Wild here on FM 100.3 The Fan. Joe O'Donnell will join me for the final hour, and we'll talk about anything and everything, not just hockey related. And I know it's going to be hockey intensive, but we are going to do some other stuff. We've got News to Nord coming up with Brett Blakemore. We've also got the return of Brett Blakemore's breakaways. And I know you're loaded for bear because you're hot take Brett. If there was ever a hot take Brett, you're the guy, especially when it comes to the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah, I was almost ready to roll with the news yesterday. I was ready to go scorched earth, but thankfully,
a lot of people jumped on that. You send me a text, you go, is it really happening? No, it isn't. It's a rumor, it's innuendo, and it was never based in fact.
Did you see the guy's response to just like, well, it's all about speculation.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, just own up to it.
You
You're
lit
wrong.
the fire, you turned your back, and you ran the other way. But that's okay. Stuff happens. But these airwaves, of course, typically belong to Paul Allen and Eric Nordquist. And that's where I want to start this. Paul is having his vocal maintenance, I think is what they call it. Eric Nordquist, though, out of the office for completely different reasons. And I know, Nordo, you were on the air with the folks for Program Password. You got your butt handed to you, and they had an opportunity to congratulate you on the new arrival into your world. But I think we got to do it 9 to noon. Hey, Covenant claps. Congratulations, Nordo, to you and your wife and your lovely family.
Thank you. And, I appreciate you giving this opportunity and Covenant claps, being on the receiving end of those. That's amazing. But I must first start by thanking you. And many that listen to 9 to noon all the time, they're locked into this time slot, settling into their cubes or into their lives, wherever they are right now. They would be thanking you that you're reminding me that we actually do have the Minnesota Wild in our mixed, in our stable after the couple of months of absolute wall-to-wall Timberwolves coverage. Some people were wondering if we had forgotten about the hockey team. So first and foremost, I thank you for reminding me about Husnudinov and Matt Boldy and Johansson and Foligno and Letterio Mai. Thank you for that spirited and I dare say emotional beginning to 9 to noon. It was beautiful, Falness.
Well, I think that's what the goal is here, is to remind us that as awesome as Max Fuller is and as cool as that run was to the Western Conference Final, Nordo, that's over. And we're moving forward. We're pushing forward. We're hitting the reset button. And that's why we have to go back to it. It's a palate cleanser today. And I know it's the middle of June, and this isn't typically when you get hockey talk, but it's time to hit that reset button and go back to ground zero. So that's our goal here over the course of the next 3 hours. Indiana has basketball. Texas has football. Minnesota has hockey, Nordo.
No, I think it's cool, and this is the first time in a while that the team has a lottery pick. So now you're thinking about like great draft equity and such with the hockey team and such. Oh, they do have a lottery pick, right?
No, they have a 13th overall pick.
Well, it's really cool that this summer, with a ton of cap space and a ton of opportunity and free agency,
now listen,
a chance to really make this team better and rebound on the fly after finishing 6th in the Central. How much cap space do they have again?
Listen, if I want cheap shots, I'll book Pat Micheletti. I didn't do that. I brought you on here to celebrate the emergence of a new life into this world. Tell me about the Nordquist household, where you are outnumbered now 4-1 by women folk.
Yeah, all jokes aside, as we reset to the state of hockey, and I love it. We are definitely resetting in the Nordquist household. Baby Hannah Elizabeth Nordquist, yes, all 7 pounds 10 ounces of her. She came a week early, actually. This was supposed to take place yesterday. It was on the schedule, and everything had been going smoothly. Got a little sideways last week, so here we are. It's been absolutely amazing, man. You have multiple kids as well, Kevin. Someday for you, Brett, we're just trying to find the right match, and we're very excited about that. Lengthy and somewhat dismal, but ultimately optimistic process. But with multiple kids, man, it's the girls are on cloud 9, and I'm trying to remember, and the baby's helping me remember on the fly here, just the time intensive, the lack of sleep, some of those moments. But it's an amazing blessing. And there's, if there was any worry that there wasn't enough estrogen in my household before, Hannah is officially taken care of that, no doubt about it.
You just wait 10 years from now. You think it's tough now. How old are your twins?
Well, they just turned 9, and so there's a gap there. And by the time 10 years from now, Ava and Stella are going to be in college. And so, and then it'll be Hannah. Yeah. Wife's already thinking about number 4 already, but let's hold our horses a bit.
Seriously?
The beautiful thing about girls is, like, when you have boys, you get this, Falness, and many people listening, they understand this too. Boys and myself, like, you got to test out how the mousetrap works. You got to test out, okay, well, that hot stove, right?
Yeah,
like those electric ranges with the orange coils.
Yeah. I
mean, you say it's hot, but I just, I got to understand, as boys, we put ourselves in a lot of perilous spots. Girls are easy, man, at least at this age. Mm-hmm. Like, they're smarter than we are. I didn't have to baby-proof the house. Didn't have to worry about chemicals under the sink. Like, girls just inherently don't try to hurt themselves all the time. Like we did. And Hannah now, she's She's a week old. She'll be a week old at about 12:56 p.m. if you want to set your watch to it.
Yeah.
And so, but she's been amazing. Sleep's an issue. All the normal, you wouldn't believe what it's like. All those things have happened, but it's all good, man. We're loving it right now.
Here's the thing. I would think that you had the trial by fire when you had Ava and Stella 9 years ago. I mean, that had to be unbelievable to take care of 2 new bodies, not just one, and to do it all for the first time. So you've been there and done that. But I have a 9-year-old, and I can't imagine going back to the start of things with an infant in the house. Now, I don't know if I'd remember about the car seats and the playpens and the diapers and all the other stuff that goes with it. The formula. Oh, my God, Nordo. You guys are starting over from scratch.
Yeah, we are, and we got all this stuff, and it's, let's just say there's stress involved. There's no doubt about it. But the thing about starting over and the kids are great helpers. That's the key. I would encourage everybody
helpful.
if you can, because this is super easy to plan. Have twins first. Just make sure you have twins first, because when the third one, it's just one.
Yeah.
I mean, you're kicking feet up. I mean, this is easy. I mean, this is so simple. Hannah is zero work compared to trying to juggle 2 at the same time. So I would encourage everyone out there looking to start a family, have twins first, be so emotionally, physically, physiologically beaten down, and then just make sure the third one's only one, and you'll get exactly what I'm talking about. Easy living.
And also make sure the firstborn are on board with this whole process, because if they weren't a fan of new baby Hannah Elizabeth, boy, you'd have a whole different set of problems on your hands.
Yeah, they've just been amazing. It's just like anything else in life, Kevin. You got maybe one of your 2 or 3 kids is probably like this, where in a lot of aspects of life, you got to hold them back, right?
Yeah.
You're not pushing them forward. You're not dragging them ahead in life like an anchor.
Yeah.
You got to hold them back. You got to rein them in. And that's what's been nice about my girls, is they're able to help. They are almost too eager to help, to the point where it's like, let's calm down. Let's not do that to the baby. No, that's an awful idea, Ava. Step away, please. You get moments like that, but they're just they're almost as in love with it as my wife and I are. So it's all good. Just this is the coolest thing that I'll ever do in life is family, right? And it's the most beautiful foundational aspect of my existence. And so to be able to add to that, even though there is that age gap there, I couldn't be more excited. And leading up to this, you're doing what?
Yeah.
Your kids are already in 3rd grade, and you're going to start over? Hell yeah, I'm going to start over. This is going to be awesome. So, baby number 3, it's a girl. Let's just say maybe at points early on, there was just a hope.
Yeah.
Just a thought, like, what would a boy be like? That's not in the cards, apparently. So, and
well, you never know. You said you're going from number 4.
Those will probably, and you know what? That's going to be a girl too. Why not? At this point, just keep stacking them.
Yeah, get used to floral patterns.
Keep stacking them.
First of all,
it's truly the beauties and the beast.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the Nordquist household looks like.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. Let me tell you, the guy that we were talking about, where you have to kind of hold him back, his nickname was Louie, for Lucifer. He's grown out of that stage now. We don't have to hold him back anymore. He's 12. So we got a 14, a 12, and a 9-year-old. But I just can't imagine going back to 0. I'll leave you on this note. I know for me, if I were to start over, and there's 0 chance of that happening, but if I did start over, it would really cut into my golf game in particular. For you, this is going to affect your game on the smoker. Are you going to continue to be able to produce those succulent meats?
Well, this is just one more excuse for me to be at home, my man, which means it's one more excuse for me to stand in the driveway, which means it's one more excuse for me to keep the cooler full. No, we're actually, we got ribs, we got brisket, we got some plans over the next week and a half or so. So we'll, this only makes us stronger. That's all it is. So
awesome.
No, it's all good times here. And again, like you said, that we are resetting. We are the state of hockey. And we got all that cap space you were talking about, and all that draft equity. Super pumped for that.
Stop it.
And similarly, we got all set up. I mean, friends just bringing food over, things like that. It's been really, a really cool last 4 or 5 days. And no, we're ready to reset in the Nordquist household as well. So
the wife's doing well.
It's all positive. I don't really have much to add to this other than it's been all good. It's truly amazing.
I got to ask you about your wife. Wife is doing well. She's handling everything just like you'd expect.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Recovery process in tow, and she's on top of the world. And,
awesome.
She's amazing. Yeah, no, she's the MVP of this operation, no doubt.
I don't think I'm the spokesperson for 9 to Noon, but on behalf of everyone listening and everyone that's a fan of you, Paul Allen, and the entire project you got going here, congratulations, Nordo, to you and your entire family. God bless each and every one of you, and look out for that estrogen, man. It is a beast.
No, it's it's all good. Beauties and the Beast. That's the theme of this Nordquist household. And no, I truly appreciate that. A lot of positivity being sent my way over the last week. But again, this was something we were looking forward to, and now it's here, and now we're living it. And the ups and downs of it are part of the adventure. So we're totally cool. And great thing now, I'm kind of stuck at home, right? And I get, for the next 3 hours, I'm going to be listening to 9 to Noon. Taking notes and remembering that we still have a hockey team. So
love it.
For me, I want to thank you guys for helping inform me and keeping me entertained this morning.
Happy to do so. When are you back?
Next week and a half or so.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see you in a week and a half or so.
It's fluid right now. Things came a little early.
Sure.
And I got to talk to the corner office about all that.
Awesome. All right. Well, take care. Enjoy. Be a daddy. Enjoy your family time. And again, congratulations to each and every one of you.
Party on, Waynes. Thank you.
There he is. That's Nordo. I can't imagine, Brett. I mean, I'm north of 50. And to start over now, and I know he's not north of 50. He's very south of 50. But I can't imagine. I have a 9-year-old. And to add a 0-year-old into that thing, the Falness household would probably implode. We have enough drama. And then to have not one, not two, not 4 girls, females in that house, man, I just can't imagine what that's going to be like for the next decade and change.
I can't imagine any of it at all. So,
well,
yeah,
that day's coming.
Well, I hope so. Not looking likely right now.
You got to get out of this studio, and you know what? Hang up the Packer allegiance. Maybe that is what will get you through the door. Of,
you think that's what's holding me back?
It very well could be.
Yeah, you never know.
You can't say that it isn't.
I got to change my location on the apps to Hudson.
There you go. All right, well, let's do this. Like I said, the goal here is to cleanse the palate. Get back to ground zero. Yes, we had fun with the basketball. That was a neat story. It was so much fun, so enjoyable to take in that trip to the Western Conference Finals, but that's done. Hockey season is done. Basketball season pretty much is done. But what we're going to do is remind you what this state is all about, what makes it great, and it is not basketball, not football. It's hockey. That's what sets us apart from Alaska, Hawaii, Texas, India, all of them. Iowa doesn't have hockey. Well, they do. They got the minor league team. But this is what it's all about. We are the state of hockey, and we'll have more after this. Welcome to 9 to Noon on KFAN.
Wild.
Should have mentioned Brett Blakemore, by the way, welcome. I'm Kevin Falness, in for Paul Allen and Eric Nordquist over the course of the next few hours. 9 to Noon carries on, despite the fact one of them has a vocal maintenance day. The other one is adding to his brood in the Nordquist home. But I should have mentioned in that opening segment, we have an opening for the hockey ambassadorship. Apparently, the guy that sits in the big chair wants to relinquish his role as the hockey ambassador around here. Oh my gosh. I was listening a little bit yesterday. I got called out too, and that's fine.
Naturally.
I don't think we can take it away, and we would never strip anything. I mean, it's Dan Barrero. I mean, he's a legend. He's a Hall of Famer. If he's not in the PAVC, he will be soon. He should be anywhere they salute great radio and newspaper minds. But I think we need to, at the very least, have an assistant hockey ambassador. So I'm going to open applications throughout the course of the next 3 hours as we cleanse your palate and get some of that basketball off of your taste buds. We're talking hockey, and I want to know, first of all you got to do is text 64686. You can also hit me up on Twitter at Radio Falness. That's 1L, 2 S's. And tell me, first of all, I want you to be very complimentary towards me. If you're not, I'm throwing it out. Then also tell me why you should be the hockey ambassador for the state of hockey. And if you are eligible and you end up being the random winner that I pick, I've got an autographed Kirill Kaprizov jersey for you. It's autographed. It's beautiful, and it'll look good on the assistant hockey ambassador, the vice president of hockey ambassadorship. The next one in line, when Dan Barreiro says, enough, I can't do it anymore, you're the guy or the gal that'll take over that spot. 64686. Well, you can try. I don't like your chances.
Okay, fair
But
enough.
64686, text it in and let me know why you should be the heir apparent for the hockey ambassadorship whenever Dan Barreiro finally hangs it up. News to Nord?
News to Nord.
Number 1.
And by the way, I threw this in here because we got a lot of cool hockey guests coming up. Matt Hendricks, Bruce Boudreau, Michael Russo. We're going to get into Brett Blakemore's breakaways. So this is a good chance to get a break before we get real hockey intensive going forward.
Yeah, because it's going to be hockey the rest of the way.
Pretty
here.
much.
Yeah, so this is the non-hockey
Sorry, not
News
sorry.
to Nord. Yep.
Number 1.
I'm all for it. Hey, the Twins won yesterday to win the series against the Rockies. If they could just score 17 runs every game, problem solved like they did yesterday. They won 17-9. They play again today against the A's. Talking Twins is so weird because you can't. So many people have struggles watching the games.
I'm
they
one of them.
literally can't do it.
I'm one of them. In the summer, I always have it on in the background. I can't say I'm a diehard Twins fan typically anyway, but I always know what's going on. I feel like
watching,
I feel like I'm in the background here. I'm going tonight. Haven't gone all year long. We're going tonight. I'm
should be nice.
Traveling to see my family in July. We're going to go see the Twins in San Francisco, so that'll be cool. But
nice part.
I'm a baseball fan, not diehard by any stretch, but I still enjoy the sport. But I feel kind of in the dark here with this Minnesota Twins squad.
Yeah, I mean, again, they're above 500. It's just it's this time of year. You know, I always say don't check the standings until the All-Star break, really.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, they're a few games over. They're 36-32, I believe, off the top. Yeah, 36-32. They're fine. They're humming along, but not great, not terrible.
I'm going tonight.
That's
I'm excited. I'll see how great or terrible they are.
It's going to be sunny and 82 at first pitch.
First pitch tonight. Looking forward to that from Target Field.
Something I am excited about.
Number 2.
U.S. Open is happening right now. We both have it on the TVs in studio here.
Yeah.
Your current leader is Brooks Koepka, along with Matthew Pavon. Your thoughts on the U.S. Open, and is it Scotty's tournament to lose, even though he hasn't even teed off yet?
It sure feels like it. I mean, every tournament right now is Scotty's to lose. Again, I'm not following it as closely as the Power Trip, but I do. This is another thing, especially without the ability to have the Twins on in the background. When I'm hanging out at home throughout the course of the next 4 days, I will have the U.S. Open in the background, and I guess I'm pulling for Scheffler. I like his story. Is he boring? Yes. Is his personality a bit drab? Yeah. But he's a hell of a golfer. Fun to watch.
He is.
Number 3.
I know you care about this. The Celtics won Game 3 last night in Dallas. They now lead the series 3-0, which leads me to think if the Wolves did get through, which obviously that would be amazing because we'd be in the finals. This team looks like a buzzsaw, this Boston team.
Yeah, I mean, I can't break down the X's and O's of what could have or should have been, but it makes you wonder why it feels like they got worked so bad by the Mavericks, right? Yeah. I mean, even if you were going to get pounded by the Celtics, what they're doing to Dallas, the Timberwolves couldn't do. Luka Doncic looks human right now, and he didn't against Minnesota, and that, I mean, probably speaks more to what we didn't do again. And I said we. It speaks probably more to what
I'm a we guy.
Didn't do against the Mavericks more than what the Celtics are doing. But, man, they are putting on a clinic, and it looks like I'd be shocked if they get to 5 games.
If you're emotionally invested in the team and you take shtick at your school, at work, I think you should be able to say we when you're talking about the team. I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm a we guy. I obviously don't play for the team. I always hate that. Do you put on the helmet? Do you play? Come on.
Yeah, that's my snark. Yeah. If I send that to someone, question mark.
Well, yeah.
That's all snark. Of course, I want you to feel we.
Yeah, that just rolls right off my back at this point.
Don't say we though when you're talking about your Packers. That's not we.
Well, I own the team.
No, you don't. You own a piece of paper. And I can give you a piece of paper that can say just about anything. It'll be just as much worth of what your ownership is in that team.
Hey, keeps them in Green Bay.
Number 4.
Speaking of football, the new Netflix show Receiver as its first trailer, which does feature Jets, not JJ, Jets.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson. I loved quarterback. I thought it was great. I'm going to watch this receiver bit. What are your thoughts on the new series?
Anytime you can get behind the scenes, and that's what this type of thing does, I'm all for it, without a doubt. Not to, again, turn it back to the Wild, but they do some incredible stuff. The video team and the web nerds that do some great stuff
Beyond
for the
Our
Minnesota
Ice is
Wild.
great. Yep.
They have incredible footage, and this is that type of thing on an even grander scale. So, yeah, of course, I'm all for it. In fact, I'm all for miking up everybody all the time. Well, that might not be a good idea, but regardless. Well, why don't we do this? When we continue, we're going to mic up Matt Hendricks. You remember that name, right? Played his hockey at Blaine, St. Cloud State. Now has risen in the ranks and is the general manager of the Iowa Wild. What? We're going to talk about that next with Hendy on 9 to Noon. Great applications being filed at 64686. Again, we're looking for an assistant hockey ambassador. Dan Barrero's the guy that wears the crown now, but we need someone in waiting. If he decides to hang it up or decides he can't fill that role, or this won't happen, but if we had to strip him of that title, who's next on the list? Again, all you got to do is shoot me a text, 64686. I want you to be incredibly complimentary towards me. And people are doing their part there, and it's really flattering. And thank you again, 64686. But also tell me why you should be the next or the heir apparent to the hockey ambassador here in the state of hockey. Send those texts to 64686. Sometime between now and noon, I will pull someone at random, and you will win an autographed Minnesota Wild Kirill Kaprizov uniform. One guy that is not eligible for that is Matt Hendricks, the new general manager for the Iowa Wild. Hendy, thank you for joining us. Welcome to 9 to Noon.
You got it, Kevin. Thanks for having me on.
How about you with the...
I'd like one of those jerseys, though. I got a 12-year-old boy at home that would really like to wear one of those.
You will have to get off your wallet. You are ineligible to win this contest, my friend. Congratulations on the brand new title. This is awesome. How excited are you for this new role?
Yes, thanks, Kevin. I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to working more closely with the hockey ops staff and our scouting staff and being a part of Iowa a little bit more on the day-to-day. So definitely looking forward to that. We've got a lot of young prospects down there that, I've been fortunate to work with over the last, 5 seasons. So a lot of those faces are now part of the Iowa Wild, and it feels good. It feels comfortable, and I'm looking forward to it.
Matt Hendricks needs no introduction here to the state of hockey, but retired from the NHL in 2019. 607 games in the National Hockey League with the Avalanche, the Capitals, the Predators, the Oilers, the Jets, and of course here with the Minnesota Wild for a handful of games. Joined the Wild hockey ops and player development, working closely with Brad Bombardier in particular, and now is the new general manager for the Iowa Wild. Success with a big club, of course, that's paramount, but how important is it to have that infrastructure down there in Iowa for the guys to have some of that success, something that's, honestly, that's been lacking here as of late, Matt?
Yep, absolutely. And, I give a ton of credit to Brett McLean and the coaching staff down there, where they're working with a very young group, an exciting group of players, but very young in a very difficult league. If you don't know a lot about the American Hockey League, it's full of men that have aspirations of playing in the National Hockey League. So they are pushing the envelope at an extremely high level. So for the young 20-year-old, 21-year-old players to step in there and try to find success is difficult. And back to Coach McLean and his staff, they've done a great job creating a culture there that is a positive one, one that has shown growth throughout our prospect pool. And obviously winning is important to us, but the development of these prospects is most important, so they can eventually make their way to the big club and help that team vie for a Stanley Cup.
Obviously, we all know you finished your career as an established NHLer, but it didn't just happen for you. You leave St. Cloud State, and it was 5 or 6 years in the American Hockey League. What does that history teach you about what it is that these guys are going through in the American Hockey League, whether they've been down there for a handful of months or a handful of years as they try to break through to the next level?
Well, I think I learned a lot of lessons because I was there a long time. But, the most important for me was patience. when I was young and early in my professional career, I lacked patience and I looked too far ahead every day. As I got older, I started recognizing or realizing the details of the game that make me a better player, and at the end of the day, a more reliable option for the coaching staff. I think learning details in terms of how could I be one of our team's best penalty killers? How could I be a guy that the coach wanted to throw over the boards in important moments in a game, whether you're up by a goal late and there's a defensive zone face-off, or there's a big penalty a penalty that needs to be killed. And those areas of the game is where I started to really focus. And that, along with continuing to become a better skater, helped me get to the NHL at a later age.
I won't ask you your favorite stop in the National Hockey League because, of course, you better answer Minnesota, and you loved it here, and so on and so forth. But in the American Hockey League, as mentioned, I look at the list of spots that you're in. You were in some pretty cool areas, too, before you broke into the NHL. What was your favorite American Hockey League stop?
Oh, man, there were some really good ones along the road, but I would have to say probably the year I spent with the Hershey Bears in 2006, 2007. They were just coming off a Calder Cup win in 05, 06. Got to play on a very strong team. Unfortunately, Carey Price decided to come out of junior that year and join the Hamilton Bulldogs, so they beat us in the Calder Cup finals. But looking back at that season, it was a big year of growth for a lot of the reasons I had just told you. I started to firmly believe that I had an opportunity to not only be a better American League player, but to have an opportunity to someday get in the NHL. That was a big year of growth for me. And a terrific town. If you've never been there, Hockey Town, not Hockey Town, Chocolate Town, USA. Yeah. I enjoyed that as well.
I know you played for Boudreaux later in your career, but that was a Bruce Boudreaux-led team, right, in Hershey?
Correct. That was my first go-around with Bruce.
How was that?
It was a great experience for me. He firmly believed in me as a hockey player. Was the first time I had a coach in the minors that believed I could be an NHL player, and for me that was, extremely important because I had seen the success that he had in the minor league level, and then. For me, I moved on after Hershey, but Bruce spent a little bit more, not about half, but I think it was the next season. Come November, he ended up going to the Washington Capitals and immediately finding success there. So that even strengthened my belief in myself because I looked at him now as a strong NHL coach too that had that belief. So for me, Bruce was very important in my career.
And he's not a boring guy to be around either, by the way. Whether you're winning or losing, it's going to be entertaining with Bruce Boudreaux in that same room.
Yep, absolutely. It's hard to get a word in, but he's usually correct when he's talking to his players. That's great.
He's actually following you. We're having him on at the top of the hour. He's now a big TV star.
Tell him I said hello.
Oh, I will. We're talking to Matt Hendricks, now the new general manager for the Iowa Wild. And like you said, in your previous role, you dealt with a lot of these young prospects as they were coming up through the ranks. And now that blue line is bubbling down there, Matt. When you look at the prospects that you got, depending on who makes the roster coming in out of training camp, regardless, that blue line is going to be pretty strong. What can you tell us about some of those young guys that are, knocking pretty loud on the NHL door?
Well, Damon Hunt, I think for the Minnesota Wild fans, got to see some of him last season. And he is, he's a physical specimen, a player with size, had a ton of ability, offensive ability, and showed that playing in the Western Hockey League in Moose Jaw. But what we really like about Damon is his ability to play in a lot of different situations. And in the American League, he's used on the power play, both special teams. He's a big penalty killer for us. Plays big minutes 5-on-5, distributes pucks well, and has great mobility. So he is a player that I think we'll see more of, hopefully, really pushing for NHL opportunity come next season. Ryan O'Rourke continues to show growth. Carson Lambos and David Spacek were two, real green rookies for us last year. tough season in terms of stepping right in from the junior level with the young defensemen that we had. But real proud of those two and their positive mindset and the drive that they show daily at the rink. And by the end of the season, started to show some real growth for us. Really excited for them. Kyle Masters, right shot D-man, didn't have a ton of opportunity last year in Iowa. We're hoping that he has a strong camp come September and pushes for more ice time. And then Jack Peart's a young left shot D that came out of, he's actually a Minnesota native, Grand Rapids, Minnesota, played at 3 years at St. Cloud State. He got in maybe 10 games with us towards the end of the season when he joined Iowa, and just a player that has, he's a savvy player, sees the ice better than most, and isn't afraid to make those plays that when exiting the defensive zone and such. So looking for big summers with all these players. Obviously, that the weight room at this point in their careers is so important, and getting stronger and faster and more confident. Looking for them to show up come September and really push our older group or our NHL defensemen.
You mentioned Spacek. I thought he was an interesting story. Like you said, rookie season in the American Hockey League, comes in and plays 61 games and a handful of points and maybe tough to make the transition, but what a wonderful experience it must have been for him. Just reading some of the news clippings on him winning the World Championships there with the Czechs.
Yeah, absolutely, Kevin. Couldn't be more excited for David and that opportunity, and to be able to go into that tournament and kind of, not just stick his toe in the water, but he dove into it. And, by the end of the tournament, he was a very utilized defenseman for that Czech team, and they end up winning gold in his home country in Prague. I couldn't imagine a better experience for him, and just a great way to step foot into summer training now, have that added confidence that he gained from that tournament, and really, set his focus on next season.
That's what's going on the back end. Up front, there's a couple of guys that I think Wild fans definitely, they have the attention of Wild fans. One in particular, Riley Heidt, second round pick back in 2023, and just lit up the WHL this year with Prince George. What can you tell us about this kid who had 37 goals and 117 points in 66 games?
Yeah, incredible stat line for sure. I think it was, if my memory serves me correct, I think he was finished third in the Western League. A player, I think for most fans, that what will jump out to you right away is his skill level. He sees the ice extremely well. He plays a up-paced game with the puck on his stick, which you don't see a lot of with someone with his kind of ability to pass and shoot and set up and create offense. He plays with speed, and what you may not see immediately with him is his tenacity and his ability to hunt pucks. And he goes into corners. He's not the biggest guy by any means, but he seems to come out with way more than his fair share of 50-50s. So he plays with a chip on his shoulder. He's an exciting young prospect for us. And again, another kid that is looking forward to having a big summer in the gym and on the track, and come into camp come September and push hard for a job.
Another name that I hear a lot from Wild fans, and I don't know what the prospects are. I don't know how soon it will be, and I don't know that you'll ever see him in Iowa, but you guys would have a better handle on that. The 24th overall pick in 2022, and Danila Yurov, playing over in the KHL. We've never seen him in person. I think you have. What can you tell Wild fans about Danila Yurov to make them excited about what it is that he's about whenever it is that he ends up in North America?
Well, he's a big centerman that we like big centermen, that's for sure. And I think the best thing about his season was he created a lot of opportunity for himself in Magnitogorsk. He got opportunity to play big minutes where he didn't have that the year before, and his offense shined because of it. He scored for his age group. He broke a record that hadn't been done before, and he's passing some very good hockey players along the way. Kuznetsov, Tarasenko. He's doing things that that is very rare and you don't see happen too often. So obviously we're hoping that offensive game transitions to North America when Danilo decides it's time to jump over the big pond, and we're looking forward to that. But the experience that he got this year and winning the KHL championship, like I said, in Magnitogorsk was very good for his development and his growth as a player, and we're looking for real big things coming out of him next season.
One other prospect I want to bring up before we let you go is between the pipes. Jesper Wallstedt had a real tough NHL debut last January, but really made up for it when he had the opportunity at the end of the regular season. That's what we saw up close and personal on the NHL stage with those handful of games he got here with the big club. How would you describe his progression now entering his third season as a pro?
Yeah, progression's a great word, and he is on the right track. I think what you saw from him, what the Wild fans saw from him at the end of the season is the player that Jesper wants to be, which is important. And he has that winning pedigree. He has that drive, that competitiveness. And I think the thing that jumped out at me most last season was his focus. When you compared to his rookie year to last year, when you looked at him, he just had a look in his eye of, okay, I want to continue to push, and I'm going to get better, and I'm going to take this game. It's almost like he's looking down at the other end of the ice at the other teams, the opposing goalie, to saying, all right, I'm going to win this one for my team. And that type of habit, that type of drive, it continues to show up and improve in practices and his all-around way of taking care of himself and living. And basically, at the end of the day, it's just maturity. It's both physical and emotional maturity.
I did have one more come in at 64686. Another guy that I think fans want to know about, a second-round pick back in 2022 in Hunter Height. Not to be confused with Riley Height. Hunter Height, what can you tell us about this kid and what he did in the Ontario Hockey League?
Well, Hunter, he had a phenomenal ending to his season this year in Saginaw. They ended up winning the Memorial Cup. They were the host team this year. They lost to a very good London team it would have been the conference finals in the Ontario Hockey League, but then got to face London in the championship game and ended up beating them. So super exciting for him. What we like about Hunter as a player is he's a player that brings a lot of speed, a lot of pace. He has a good skill. He was snake bit a little bit during the season, so his numbers they're not as elevated as he would like them to be, but those things happen. He got his confidence back and was able to produce down the stretch for that team. So really looking forward to him and his growth, becoming a harder player to play against in the defensive zone, being a good draw man in the face-off dot, and pushing defenders back with his speed and his ability to shoot the puck.
Fantastic information. Are you relocating then to Des Moines, or will you still office out of St. Paul?
Nope, I'll be staying in Minnesota with my wife and two kids and officing out of St. Paul, but I'll be spending definitely some more time in Des Moines than in my previous role. I feel like this new role is going to cut into the fishing. How are you going to get the outdoor time in? Don't tell my son that, Kevin. He's getting the itch. Oh, he actually wants to get it. Like I said, he's 12 and he started working on his boater safety today. He wants to start driving the boat. So, all right, maybe he can get out on his own now. I don't know yet. If I have a golfer on, I got to ask him their best round. You're an outdoorsman. Give me the best fish you've caught in a Minnesota lake. The one you're most proud of. Oh gosh, that is a good question. Well, I'm a walleye guy at heart, so my biggest Minnesota walleye came in at 28.5 inches, and that was caught in the Boundary Waters. Awesome. Northern Minnesota. Oh, my. Yeah, a really cool experience. Trying to get that thing in the boat when you're in a canoe is pretty difficult. Oh, my goodness. Well, good luck, and maybe you can catch something even bigger this year, but congratulations on the new gig. Look forward to working with you even closer here now that you're going to have those roots in Minnesota and you're not traveling the globe all the time. Yeah, thanks, Kevin. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm excited. I appreciate it. All right, buddy. See you later. That is the new general manager for the Iowa Wild,
Matt Hendricks, again, started at Blaine, worked his way to St. Cloud State. A great career in the National Hockey League, 607 games. And you remember, he did talking to people about Matt Hendricks. And we're going to have Boudreaux on next. I'm sure Russo can speak to this as well. That was a leader in both on and off the ice. When you talk about a good backbone guy, that's the kind of guy you want in your locker room. And now that's the guy that's leading the way for the young prospects within this organization. As much as you want the Minnesota Wild to succeed, and of course you do, you got to have that infrastructure going on the lower levels, including in the American Hockey League. And I can't think of a better guy to be behind the wheels. So good for Matt Hendricks. Congratulations, the new general manager of the Iowa Wild. We're going to squeeze in a break, and then when we continue, we'll talk to one of his mentors. Remember Bruce Boudreaux? Who doesn't? He's next on 9 to Noon.